Konnichiwa, minasan. I'm doing another blog, and I'm not sure how I'll title this one. I don't think it's going to be a moment of truth, and it's certainly not going to be a pillow talk. But I'm just outlining some things of the weird, wild world that we live in. If people hadn't known, or maybe it was misleading from my last blog, I have been on vacation for the past week, and I didn't really get a heck of a lot done. Um, I have been suffering from a bout of depression, I'd say. Um, there's some things I've probably been obsessive about, and probably just taking a lot of time to do pretty much nothing. So, as far as getting organized and doing stuff in my place, it's not very good. But I did delve and find some very interesting things out there in the world, and kind of freaked me out. I I'm not gonna make it a secret. I am a chubby chaser, and I love chubby women. There's one that I found out there on YouTube. I found videos, and I've seen a ton of things out there, and I guess they're called gainers. They're women who start out average or slender and small, just a regular attractive girl, and then they decide for some reason or another that they want to gain weight. So they make an active pursuit of it for probably a year, maybe 2 years, or however long it takes. And they make videos of it on YouTube that they're gaining weight. So they show you their belly and play with it. They do kind of stuff. And, if I'm going to pin like an average girl with a chubby girl, I said, I'll like chubby girls. Average girls are nice. But if they get chubby to a certain point, there's certain things that if they're too big, then I might not like them. But I'm always a sucker for a girl with a pretty face, so sometimes it depends. But it makes me scratch my head sometimes, and I say, well, okay, some of these girls, they do it in like a year, and they'll go from being, God, like 120 or 130 pounds all the way up to like 200, maybe 300 pounds. And I think that might be in the course of a little over a year, or maybe 2 years, and they change dramatically. On one hand, I look at this weird thing and I say, well, I can see where it probably would be nice to have the extra weight, and there's a little extra clout there, and you probably feel more comfortable with that. But on the other hand, I don't know if these girls realize that their bodies might not be able to take all this extra weight very well. They run into problems with their joints, and they probably aren't very mobile like they used to be. They can't go for long walks because maybe their knees hurt or something's going on, or they just don't have the strength or the endurance for that. So it's really weird, wild stuff. But I've been finding with some of these women, they gain weight and they're pretty happy about the whole change and the whole process of things, of looking different, having a modified look, a modified blah 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 that goes with this. But after a while, it looks like some of them just disappear from YouTube and they close their channels down. So it's kind of weird because their channels have all just this stuff. But when I look at it and I say, well, that's kind of weird. I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't understand it, and I don't know why they would want to do that. But when I point the finger at myself and I say, well, okay, I'm part of the trans community, am I any more normal? And I think that's where part of my depression probably stemmed from. I look at it and say, ooh, it makes me feel very insecure. Like there's only so many trans people that are in the world. And I'm this, whether I transition or not. Do I expect the world to understand a lot of things? No, maybe I don't. There's some things that happen with my health if I did do a transition. There are some risks. I'm not very clear as to everything, but is there a greater level of health that's achieved? I don't know. I think so, but you have to look at it from all angles. But then it makes you kind of think, says, boy, I'm really part of a weird, strange thing, much like these girls are part of their thing. It makes you scratch your head and feel like really bad for like being you. Like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Because you get really depressed about it. It could bring somebody to the point where maybe they would want to take their life. I don't know. I've had a couple bouts of something like passing in my head this past week, and it's not a good thing, but it's very, very serious. If people need help, they need help. So I just hope that never gets to that point. I've been there once, but I don't plan to go back to it again. People need to find their way. These girls are putting their health at risk. You know, there's a serious amount of stuff that can happen where their life could be shortened. I mean, they might not realize it, but donuts like this could kill them. It's a very beautiful old style donut from Whole Foods that I like. Their metabolism slows down, and they just keep eating and eating, and they're very contrite and very happy to be gaining weight as fast as they can. But if they're going to be getting back to a normal weight, then that's going to be a tough road to go. Maybe they'll get to the point where it'll be so big that they need to lose weight. Sometimes I kind of wonder and apply that to trans stuff and say, well, if I made a change with something, would I be a lot like them and be addicted to change? That's the correlation. That's what we have a lot in common. I think when people physically transition, they're looking at the changes that happen in the body and they say, oh wow, we've got this change going on, changing down there, and everything's just constant change. But when people get to a certain point that things don't change so big or so much anymore, they kind of settle out and then have subtle changes coming in. But they might not notice it unless, you know, they've been away from people who know them and haven't seen them for a long time. And I kind of wonder for trans people if that's kind of what it's about. I mean, some people might be doing it, they might be doing it for change. And then maybe sometimes people might get to a point where they do it and they say, oh, well, I went through this experience, I'm changed, now what? They might get kind of bored. You don't really hear of it too often out here, and I've heard some people say that they did it, and if they're granted a choice, they might not do it again. I don't know. I have to sit in the therapist's sofa and talk to somebody and find out what's going on with that. But it does make me think, and I think a lot about things, that am I really addicted to change? It's something of fancy where when I first came out here and I got to see people, they did this thing. And I see them and I have this strong romance with it. And I said, I really love this. I love this and I love this very, very much. Could I see that's something that I would want to do? I kind of look at things from different angles, and I probably always do. Is what's at the core of me? What's very, very, very important? I know that there's a romance with transition. I know there's a romance with this kind of change. Romance is being perceived as different. But at the core of me, I said, well, I do like girls a lot. You know, and would I date them? Yes, I would. I work at night. I'm not very social with people. I don't find myself very much in the way of having to do that. But, you know, I said, would it kill kind of things in that way? I hear what lesbians have to say, and, you know, that it's a good life for them. It is. But they don't always find girls probably as easily as probably I would. So, at the core of me, if I was physically transitioned, would that be something that's very, very important to me? A lot of questions to ask. Seeing people who are gainers, they like the change, but when they get the change, they might get tired of that, and it doesn't work out so well, you know? Maybe they're on the point where they just keep gaining weight inadvertently, and I think people develop such a hunger when they are gainers that they really can't stop. The wheel's already turning, the ball's already rolling, and you get a snowball effect that's kind of nasty. So, I guess it's kind of a warning for trans people. Just kind of look at things carefully. I don't think people are going to like me for putting this blog out here. No, they're not going to like that at all. But it's an idea that people have to look at and they have to think when they consider things. I think when I go into therapy that there's going to be quite a bit of stuff coming through. But I'm definitely not going to be the type of person that goes and says, just do it. And then there you go. There's a girl that I know in California, and I love her very much, Lacey. But even she has some insecurities about liking women. And she probably likes women just as much as I do. But we should be just as much in the way of admitting it. And she looks beautiful. She looks absolutely beautiful. And I don't say anything bad about that. But there's still a part of her that's a little bit insecure and self-conscious about things. And you can see, even though I may look at a trans girl in a certain way and say she's beautiful and perfect, maybe somebody else might look at her and be more critical of things. Same thing with the genetic girls who may be gainers. Maybe they're self-conscious. Maybe they have a need for something extra going on. Pay attention to that. You know, if I physically transitioned, maybe doing it for a reason that would fulfill a need or something that I think would probably be doing it. So maybe these girls will need to find the right guy. I don't know. Find a guy who gives them the right attention. Maybe they're looking for extra attention by gaining weight. Apply that to trans people. Maybe you want to physically transition because you want extra attention. Maybe you want to be treated a certain way. Maybe you're looking for that extra thing that you think your physical thing might be presenting, might be, by virtue of looking the way you look. You're granted permission to go and you can go shop and do other things. Today I went to the TJ Maxx and my eyes go to the handbags and they go to the different things. I actually had to ask a woman about, sunglass cases. I'm looking for a case for my glasses, my prescription glasses. And she said, oh, but they're in the women's section. We don't have any for men. And in her mind, she's translating that. Says, oh, there's two sections of things for men and there's also for women. But in my mind, I'm saying, no, I'm just going to the place that I need to go. So I had no inhibitions about going to the women's section. It's just, my whole thing is my perception of that is different from other people. And I'm kind of looking at it and saying, okay, what are other people going to think? I kind of worry about that a little bit more than it's just for me. I'm feeling very much a strong need to go and get that other stuff. And I'll probably find my comfort in my way it's presenting. Now, if I went and did that, would I still be okay? Do I need to physically transition? The answer is no, not necessarily. But you have to remember that if you physically transition, you can detransition. Yes, it's not an easy road to go. It's just hard. So looking at your core needs and what you want and what you need, that's a very big deal. Take a look at that stuff. Consider it. Even look for videos out here of people who detransition. Some people do, and they just need some extra time to do things. It's not a clear-cut road or a very sure thing, and I know that there's a lot of things that I need to work on. But when you look at change like that, you have to kind of put it in perspective. Okay? Gainer people, it's a whole other thing. They're gaining weight for stuff. Trans people, well, they're transitioning. They might be transitioning for different reasons. But at the core and the heart of you, you will always remain the same. I don't see anything changing about me if I did it. And even though I might walk into the world, I may not fit quite so much. And every once in a while, I'll go into the TJ Maxx and I'll be crossing a woman who's walking out of the store and going to the car, and she can clock me and look and know there's something going on. So it's kind of that sort of thing. When you look at change, be careful about that. Consider it, but maybe write down a list as to what you think would be important there. And think about it. Talk to people about it. Make sure that you're absolutely sure. I don't trust a lot of people. And I think that when I go to a therapist and go and speak with them, I'm not going to trust them entirely. I know that if I make a decision to do something, I make that decision. I don't have them lead me up to it or make it sound like a fashionable thing or sound like the right thing to do. Consequence of that, it may take years, yes. When I look at me as a younger person, back when I was struggling with things, not making a heck of a lot of money and working a cajillion hours, I compared that person to who I am now. And I still have the same thoughts in my head, still have the same things going on. I'm a little more relaxed and a little more comfortable with things because I'm making more money and I have a better job and I'm not working so many crazy hours and have my life all over the place. But I don't think that anything has changed. Did I ever think that maybe in a year or two I'd do it? Yeah, I did. I did. But I still have the same doubts, the same things that are going in my head now that I probably talk to them like I did back then. Yes, very much the same, very similar. I have more experience with women, but I certainly don't see that a physical change is the thing that's necessarily right. And I try to make sure it's not an addiction. Look at that stuff carefully. Ask people questions. Talk to people if you need to. Don't ever get to the point where you're depressed to the point where you find this is the thing that's going to save you. Maybe it would, maybe it won't. If you want to find out what goes on in other trans people's heads, then ask them. Talk to them. If they physically transition, you might find that they have some things to deal with. I mean, on one hand, they're happy with stuff, but on the other hand, maybe there's less visibility. You know, especially if you come from the heterosexual community. Let's say you like women and you're born as a guy. Well, do you kind of miss that attention? Maybe you do. Look at things carefully, but try to stay away from the thing where you're addicted to change. You can change all you want, but it's not going to change things on the inside. And be very careful of that. I will be explaining my journey out here, and my life will be out here regardless. And I think that I should take no shame in that, and encourage others to come out and be, unrestricted. Even if you start a channel out here, don't feel that you have to be set to any one thing. I mean, you can come out here and start a channel, you can be like me. Tell your story. Don't say that, hey, I have to start a channel if I'm going to be physically transitioning. I think there's quite a few people that do that. You get to find out that if you see others like you, you're not alone. And maybe that life isn't such a bad life. That's my 2 cents. I'm throwing it out there. I don't expect everybody to like it, but that's what it is for today. I hope that everybody is doing well. And maybe you got something from this. You're not alone. I'm still here too. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye for now.